All right, so we've got this Wolves-Ipswich matchup coming up, huh? Looks like a spicy one.
Definitely a big one. Huge implications for both these teams, especially for staying in the Premier League.
Yeah, no kidding. Especially looking at some of these articles you send over. I mean, Wolves are
Yeah,
really struggling.
they are.
It feels like every week there's more pressure on Gary O'Neill.
Well, he survived the loss to West Ham, but
Survived is the right word.
yeah, the pressure is definitely mounting. And when you look at the numbers, it's not pretty.
It's not. Okay, so right away, that stat about Wolves conceding the most home goals since Leeds in 2022, that's got to be weighing on them.
34 goals in 16 games.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It is. So, I mean, what is it? Is it tactical? Are they making individual errors? Like,
Yeah.
what's going on there?
It's tough to say, definitely some tactical things. The articles I read pointed to some real weaknesses on their right flank. They're not maintaining their shape defensively, and teams are exploiting that.
Yeah, that seems like something Ipswich could take advantage of.
For sure. But then you add in some, individual lapses, and
Right.
it's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, goals galore. Speaking of Ipswich, they're tied on points with Wolves, but 3-game losing streak. Yikes.
Ouch. Yeah. Not a good run of form for them.
Not at all.
Oh.
Not at all. But their only win this season was an away victory. It's kind of
Yeah.
interesting.
It is interesting, right? You'd think they'd be more comfortable at home, but historically, they actually haven't had a great record away against Wolves. Only one win in their last 16 trips there.
Okay, so that doesn't bode well for them.
Not necessarily.
Well, I mean, Wolves are unbeaten in their last 7 against Ipswich, too.
True, but I think the real head scratcher here is this stat, Ipswich has actually won 6 of the last 7 top flight meetings between these two.
Wait, what?
Yeah, 6 out of 7.
Okay, but the last time that happened was like
1984.
ancient history.
Practically. So does it even matter?
Right. Is it just a fun fact, or is there something more to it?
I mean, probably more of a fun fact. Current form is much more important. But you have to wonder if it plays any kind of psychological role.
Ooh, you think so?
Maybe. For Ipswich, it could be like, hey, we've done this before. We can beat them.
Yeah.
And for Wolves, maybe a little seed of doubt.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so let's move on to some of these players. These articles highlighted Jurgen Strand Larsen for Wolves. He's got 6 goals, but 4 of them have been equalizers.
That's a pretty telling stat.
Right. So are we looking at a potential draw here?
Possibly. He seems to have a knack for those clutch moments, but it's not just the goals. He's good at holding up the ball, linking with the midfield, creates a lot of space for his teammates.
Yeah, I can see that causing some problems for Ipswich.
He could be the key to unlocking their defense.
Okay, and then for Ipswich, Connor Chaplin's been pretty hot lately.
Red hot. Just scored his first Premier League goal, his 3rd goal in 4 games.
He seems like he could cause problems for Wolves' defense.
Oh, absolutely. He's got that constant movement, always finding those pockets of space, and he's not afraid to take on defenders.
And one of these articles talked about how he's really flourished since moving more central, almost like a second striker.
Yeah, he's dangerous in that role if Wolves aren't careful.
They could be in big trouble, especially with that stat we saw. Both teams have scored in 8 of Wolves' last 9 home league games.
Yeah, that's a pretty good indicator that we might see some goals.
Yeah, another potential goal fest.
It does seem likely, but, both sides are good at scoring, but they've also got their defensive issues. The question is, who's going to finish their chances?
Ooh, good question. So we've talked a lot about these teams. It seems like this is going to be a really tight one.
Nail biter for sure. And remember, this is about survival. A draw helps neither of them.
Exactly. So where do you see this one going?
Oh, man, that's tough to call. I really think it's going to come down to who capitalizes on the other team's weaknesses. Can Wolves tighten up that defense and shut down Chaplin? Or will Ipswich find those gaps and punish them? It's a classic strength versus weakness battle, and I'm excited to see it play out.
Me too. Me too. What do you think, listeners? Who do you think will come out on top?
Leave a comment. Let us know.
Yeah, let us know.